Are you thinking of starting or expanding a business in Africa? Then you've probably heard two names again and again, Kenya and Nigeria. But which of these two nations is really the best place to set up shop, grow your brand, and succeed long term? In this video, we are going deep into the truths about doing business in Kenya versus Nigeria. No sugarcoating, no fluff. Stay with me because this could save you years of trial and error. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future breakdowns on African business opportunities and realities. Also, drop a comment below if you had to choose between Kenya and Nigeria to start a business today. Where would you go? Now, let's get into it. When people think of Nigeria, the first thing that comes to mind is its massive population, over 220 million people. That's a huge consumer base and an enormous advantage for businesses that thrive on numbers. On the other hand, Kenya has a much smaller population of around 55 million, but it has something Nigeria sometimes struggles with: stability and efficiency in certain sectors. So, immediately the contrast is clear. Nigeria offers size, Kenya offers structure, but which matters more for long-term business growth? Let's talk about the ease of doing business rankings. According to the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, Kenya consistently ranks higher than Nigeria. Why? Kenya has invested heavily in digital government services, simplified tax procedures, and modern infrastructure. For example, registering a business in Kenya can be done online within days, while Nigeria, although reforms have been made, bureaucracy and inconsistency still slow things down. But here is the catch. Just because Kenya ranks higher doesn't mean it's automatically the easier environment for profit. Nigeria, with its chaotic but opportunity-filled economy, can yield massive returns if you know how to navigate the system. Corruption, let's address it directly. Both Kenya and Nigeria struggle with corruption, but Nigeria's corruption issues are more notorious. From government contracts to basic business permits, entrepreneurs often face requests for informal payments. Kenya also has corruption challenges, but on a slightly smaller scale, and the digitalization of government services has helped reduce face-to-face bribery in recent years. So, if avoiding corruption headaches is high on your list, Kenya has the edge here. But corruption aside, what about market potential? Nigeria's sheer size make it irresistible for companies in telecoms, consumer goods, fintech, and entertainment. That's why you see giants like MTN, Dangote, and Jumia thriving there. Kenya, meanwhile, is the birthplace of M-Pesa and a hub for tech startups across East Africa. If your business is tech-oriented, fintech, or digital innovation, Kenya's ecosystem is far more supportive. But if you are aiming at mass consumer goods, fashion, or entertainment, Nigeria's numbers simply can be ignored. By the way, if you are finding this breakdown helpful, pause for a second, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who is thinking about doing business in Africa. You never know whose future you might help shape. Infrastructure is another key point. In Kenya, major cities like Nairobi and Mombasa have relatively reliable electricity, functional transportation systems, and good internet connectivity. Nigeria, however, continues to struggle with power shortages, poor road networks, and heavy traffic congestion in major hubs like Lagos. Businesses in Nigeria often budget for alternative power sources like diesel generator, which significantly increase operating costs. That's something many first-time investors underestimate. Speaking of Lagos, let's talk about business hubs. In Nigeria, Lagos is the undeniable epicenter, Africa's biggest city economy. Almost every major company has a kind of footprint there. Abuja, the capital, also attracts government-related businesses. In Kenya, Nairobi plays the same role as Lagos but a more manageable population size. better city planning, and a growing population as Africa's Silicon Savannah. So Nairobi offers more comfort and predictability, while Lagos offers skill and relentless hustle. Which one would you choose? Taxes and government policies. This can make or break a business. Kenya has worked on creating predictable tax policies, though entrepreneurs often complain about high tax rates. Nigeria's tax environment is less predictable with frequent changes and multiple agencies demanding compliance. Many Nigerian entrepreneurs say dealing with regulators feel like running an obstacle course, but Nigeria also offers generous incentives in certain industries like oil and gas, agriculture, and manufacturing. Now, let's talk about cost of living and operating expenses. Nairobi is considered one of the most expensive cities in Africa, especially for housing and office spaces. Lagos isn't cheap either, but depending on the location, you might find more affordable options compared to Nairobi. However, keep it in mind, Lagos' notorious traffic adds hidden cost, time lost in traffic translates to money lost in productivity. One thing investors often overlook is cultural differences. Nigeria is a fast-paced, aggressive market where business negotiations are often tough and competitive. People respect boldness and confidence. In Kenya, business culture is a bit more reserved with an emphasis on building trust and relationships gradually. Understanding these cultural nuances can determine whether your business thrives or fails. When it comes to access to financing, Kenya is miles ahead in supporting startups. Nairobi is filled with venture capital firms, international NGOs, and donor-backed projects that pour millions into early-stage businesses. Nigeria has capital too, but is often concentrated in specific sectors or tied up with government connections. For a young entrepreneur, Kenya might be the easier place to ensure that first round of funding. But don't get it twisted, Nigeria has the bigger diaspora remittances. Nigerians abroad send billions of dollars back home every year, and this fuels business growth and spending power. That's why even with its many challenges, Nigeria remains an irresistible magnet for entrepreneurs. What about politics and stability? Kenya has had its fair share of election-related tension, but generally the democratic process is respected and investors find it relatively predictable. Nigeria, on the other hand, has struggled with political instability, insecurity in certain regions, and policy reversal. Businesses in Nigeria often have to prepare for sudden changes in government decisions. That unpredictability can be dangerous, but for those who navigate it successfully, the rewards are unmatched. Let's not forget regional influence. Kenya is the gateway to East Africa. From Nairobi, you can easily access Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and beyond. Nigeria, on the other hand, dominates West Africa and influences policies around ECOWAS. So, where you set up depends on whether you want to dominate East or West Africa. If you've watched this far, let me ask you again, where would you set up first? Nigeria with its size, chaos, and big opportunities, or Kenya with its structure, innovation, and supportive ecosystem? Comment below. I would love to know your thoughts. Now let's wrap this up with the truth. Doing business in Nigeria versus Kenya is not about which country is better. It's about which country aligns with your business goals, risk tolerance, and long-term vision. If you want structure, ease, and a tech-friendly ecosystem, Kenya is your best bet. If you want size, scale, and you are willing to face challenges head-on, Nigeria is where fortunes are made. So what's the final promise? If you understand the realities of both markets and play to their strengths, both Kenya and Nigeria can be game changers for your business. The key is not to walk in blind, but to know what you're signing up for. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with other entrepreneurs. We are building a community that tells the truth about business in Africa, so join the movement. And remember, the future of businesses in Africa isn't about choosing one country over another. It's about understanding the continent, seizing opportunities, and building something that lasts.